Radio. The number to call up, as always, is 888-MAD-DOG-6. That's 888-623-3646. Got a lot of stuff coming your way today. Got some preseason games to touch on based on what we saw last night from the Denver Broncos, from the New York Jets, certainly from the Philadelphia Eagles, from the Jacksonville Jaguars even. Definitely talk about that. Got the Dallas decal issue. The NFL denied the Dallas Cowboys' request to have decals on their helmet, essentially commemorating the 5 police officers killed in Dallas. That horrific crime by that gunman who should be thrown under the jail, for crying out loud, assuming he was alive. Definitely talk about that. We are going to talk about a lot of NBA stuff as well. Got to get into Tim Tebow just a little bit because Buck Showalter brought him up, manager for the Baltimore Orioles. Got to get into A-Rod a little bit because tonight is his last game. But the first order of business to get into is LeBron James, because I don't know if y'all know the news. LeBron James signed a 3-year, $100 million contract extension with the Cleveland Cavaliers. I don't know whether it was his Facebook, his Instagram, his Twitter. I don't know where the hell it was. But obviously he gave it to the folks out there. He gave it to them straight. Let them know that he was staying in Cleveland for another couple of years to come at the very least. LeBron James, scheduled to make about $31 million, is the highest paid player in the NBA for the first time in his illustrious career. Let's be clear about something. Number one, LeBron James deserved this money. Number two, LeBron James deserved more than this money. Let's be clear about that. LeBron James at $31 million is still underpaid. Let's make sure we're clear. He's still underpaid. If LeBron James is getting paid $50 million, I'd still say he's underpaid. You know why? Because it's about the revenue he generates, not just the championships, not just the fact that he's the best player in the world. You walk through the turnstiles to watch LeBron James. See, you can be great. You can be a Hall of Famer. You can even be a champion and don't deserve that much money simply because you don't generate that level of revenue. Perfect example would be Tim Duncan. Absolutely, positively the greatest power forward in the history of basketball. Better than Karl Malone. Better than Kevin McHale. The greatest power forward in the history of basketball. But if you didn't see Tim Duncan, did you really miss him? The answer to that would be no, because he was Tim Duncan. Nondescript, non-assuming. Didn't wow you with anything that made you want to pay money just to walk through the turnstiles to see him play. Mad respect for him. Reverence towards him. Consummate professional. Superstar player in terms of talent and production. But he wasn't box office. He wasn't box office. LeBron is a different beast. LeBron has been box office for years. LeBron deserved to be the best player in the world for years. And the fact that it's validated right now is a beautiful thing for him. He deserves this money. He deserves more than this money. What he means to that local economy in Cleveland, what he means to the game of basketball, what he means to sports as the preeminent global iconic athlete. There is no doubt that he deserved it. Shouldn't have been that hard, but that doesn't mean that Rich Paul, his agent, doesn't deserve credit for negotiating this deal with the Cleveland Cavaliers. And I'm glad LeBron got his money now, because let me tell you something, this collective bargaining negotiation that is forthcoming, because you know both sides, the Players Association and the league, have a right to back out of the deal as of this December, which they likely will do, and there will be a CBA renegotiation taking place next summer. You don't know what's going to happen with the owners. You don't know what's going to happen with the players. Keep this in mind. Even though the television take for the NBA went from $900 million to $2.2 billion, which explains the exorbitant salaries that we saw this summer. How do y'all feel about this? And I want to emphasize and preface my statements by saying all of these players could play. All of these players that I'm about to mention deserve a lot of money. All of these players warrant our respect. All of them. But can we be real about something? Did Mike Conley deserve $153 million? $153 million. Never played in the NBA Finals. I think we all agree in today's economy that James Harden deserves $118 million because he's a superstar, in terms of offensive player. And you in Houston, you walk through the turnstiles to see James Harden dance on people. Anthony Davis is definitely going to be worth every penny because he's the only thing you've got in New Orleans. But $145 million is $145 million, especially for a dude that didn't make the playoffs. What about DeMar DeRozan? I know the Toronto just went to the Eastern Conference Finals, but $139 million? What about Bradley Beal? Did we see Washington in the playoffs this year? I don't recall. I don't think so. And last time I checked, isn't John Wall a star of that team? So why is John Wall at 80+ and Bradley Beal is at $128 million? By the way, he's got a minutes restrictions where he's not going to be able to play but about 30 minutes a night. I'm not saying that's etched in stone. I'm saying those are the kind of things you're hearing about him. So taking all of that into consideration, how in the hell is anybody going to even think to complain about LeBron James getting a 3-year, $100 million deal? It's clear he deserves more. And when you consider the fact that he's a 3-time champion, that he's been in 6 consecutive NBA Finals, that he never cheats you with effort or his commitment to excellence, and that he's constantly striving to be the best, even when he doesn't pull it off, can you deny that coupled with his box office appeal warrants anything less than what he's earning? I think you know better. I think you all understand this. And I think that we all know that LeBron James is grossly underpaid. I personally think that LeBron James, and I've heard that LeBron James got a side deal where he's going to get an ownership stake in the Cleveland Cavaliers once his career is over. I think he should. By the way, Dan Gilbert, the owner for the Cleveland Cavaliers, he's got something to do with that casino deal in Ohio. How much you want to make a bet LeBron James might be a part of that too? Because it wouldn't be that wouldn't have happened if LeBron James hadn't returned to Cleveland. If LeBron James had not returned to Cleveland, I don't think they'd get a casino deal. Dan Gilbert, that is. Do you have any idea what LeBron James has done for the local economy? Do you have any idea what LeBron James has done for Dan Gilbert? Do you have any idea what LeBron James has done for the city of Cleveland and the northern Ohio area? LeBron James is worth over $1 billion. As far as I'm concerned, he's underpaid. And by the way, when Steph Curry comes up, Steph Curry might get $200 million. He'll deserve it. He's box office. He's box office. But let me tell you what the bad part about all of this is. We got to reach a point where we ask ourselves this question. When is enough enough? Because you see, ladies and gentlemen, I'm all for players getting their money. All for it. I love it. If you deserve it. See, what I don't want to see are dudes getting $150 million that's worth half that. What I don't want to see are these exorbitant prices becoming more and more exorbitant with a lack of production. What I don't want, and you know why I don't want to see it? Because, ladies and gentlemen, I'm concerned about the disincentive it provides to win, to be champions. What am I talking about? Did you see the quote from Carmelo Anthony? Did you see how ESPN's very own Mark Stein quoted Carmelo Anthony as saying that in the end, I'm paraphrasing because I don't have the direct quote right in front of me right now. He said that in the end, if he never wins a championship, but he has 3 gold medals, he would look at his career as very successful. Now, see, this is hard for me. And I spoke about this on First Take this morning on ESPN2 with my man Max Kellerman. Ladies and gentlemen, I need you to understand something. Carmelo Anthony's my man. I got nothing but love for him. Listen, none of these athletes gonna have me being there for Thanksgiving dinner and exchanging Christmas gifts with them. It ain't like that. When I tell you I love them, what I mean by that is I love who they are. I love what they represent as people. And I'll vouch for Carmelo Anthony to the end. He's a good brother. But let me tell you why I'm so pissed off at him today. Because that quote that he gave undermines everything I know him to be. And by the way, I see people on social media telling me to fire my barber. Could you do me a favor? Kick rocks and shut the hell up. I'm 48 years old. I'm approaching 50. It's over. I know. I ain't walking around like LeBron at age 31 with a receding hairline. I'm almost 50. I have an excuse. What the hell is y'all excuse? I got social media up in front of me. I just wanted to say that. I'm sorry I got distracted. By the way, I look pretty damn good because the ladies tell me so all the time. I'm going to flow with that rather than what fellas are telling me about how I look. I'm sorry, I don't go that way. Not that there's anything wrong with those who do. I'm liberal in that regard. Live and let live. Ain't my flavor, but for those it is, more power to you. Back to basketball. Carmelo Anthony saying that says a few things. Number one, keep in mind that what it really, really says is that you either don't believe in the Knicks or you don't believe in yourself. Because the statement that he made about looking back on his career and seeing himself as a success with gold medals as opposed to NBA titles reeks of someone who either doesn't believe in his team or doesn't believe in himself. And I refuse to believe that Carmelo Anthony doesn't believe in himself. So here we are. Carmelo Anthony makes a statement like that while playing in the Olympics, being en route, having just saved the day against Australia the other day when he dropped 30 on 9 3-pointers, 31 actually. Listen, Carmelo Anthony's talking about gold medals are gold medals. Look, man, my career will still be a success. I won a national championship. I will have won 3 gold medals. I'll definitely look at my career as a success. Ladies and gentlemen, Carmelo Anthony might very well be right. If you're retired and you're looking back, reflecting upon things that were, but Carmelo Anthony is still playing. He still has about 4 or 5 years left in his career. What the hell are you doing making a statement like that? For what? Because you don't believe you're going to win? Because you don't believe your team can win? Because you're questioning whether or not you're going to be able to get it done? What is it? What were you thinking? Do y'all not see the problem? Donald Finley is absolutely right on social media. He's basically settling. I can't believe it. Carmelo Anthony is one of the greatest offensive players of this generation. With Derrick Rose coming into town and Joakim Noah and Kristaps Porzingis as your teammate along with Courtney Lee, even though you should have been Dwayne Wade, it's the Eastern Conference other than Cleveland. Who definitively can't you beat? And if you get to a conference finals and Cleveland is the team that you're going up against, who has the potential to be LeBron's kryptonite? Because you're big enough, strong enough, and gifted enough to give it to him. That would be Melo. Why the hell are you making a statement like that? Especially publicly. Why? Why? I don't understand it. I don't understand it. And I'm just wondering, not only what was he thinking, I'm wondering why should Knicks fans support this team if your resident star has got that kind of attitude? Here's another thing, and it's a macro picture that I'm going to paint. LeBron gets $100 million. And I'm not in any way implying that players won't work hard and won't play hard. But if Mike Conley Jr. is going to get 153, if Damian Lillard is going to get 150, if Anthony Davis is going to get 145, if DeMar DeRozan is going to get 139, if Bradley Beal is going to get 128, if Melo's going to get 122, and you've never won anything, where's the incentive to commit yourself to winning? See, I'm not questioning the resolve of any of these, especially a brother like Damian Lillard. That brother's a rough rider. Anthony Davis is a superstar in the making. Bradley Beal can really, really play when healthy. I'm not questioning any of these guys' heart. I'm not questioning their abilities. What I'm asking is a generic question. Ladies and gentlemen, we go to work and we work our tails off every day. Would the urgency really, really be there if no matter what we did, we got paid and we were set for life? See, that's the question. Because that's the question that we have to ask as we look forward to it. This is why you should love LeBron. Because LeBron makes money off the court better than any basketball player in the game. LeBron James has monetized his brand exponentially. And as a result, look at what it's done for him. Yet he's still going to the finals every year. LeBron James was drafted in 2003 as the number 1 overall pick. The man who should have been number 2, but Joe Dumars had Tayshaun Prince and wanted a center instead, a decision he rues the day of to this very day. He picks Darko Milicic, and the next thing you know, the Denver Nuggets have Melo at number 3. Ladies and gentlemen, do you understand that LeBron at number 1, Melo at number 3, Bosh at number 4, D. Wade at number 5, to Toronto and Miami respectively, the top 5 picks in the NBA draft? Do you realize that Carmelo Anthony is more synonymous with Darko Milicic than he is with those 3? LeBron James has 3 rings. D. Wade has 3. Chris Bosh has 2. And the reason why I bring that up, even though they played together, is because it was never supposed to be Chris Bosh. It was Melo who was supposed to go to South Beach with LeBron and D. Wade. But instead of signing a deal with an opt-out after 3 years that would have led him to be a free agent in 2010, Melo, when he signed his deal back in 06-07 with Denver, his extension wanted all 5 years guaranteed at $80 million. D-Wade, LeBron, and Bosh were willing to have an out after 3 years that netted them over only 50 to 55 million at the time. Melo wanted his money. They wanted their freedom. They bet on themselves. Melo didn't. They end up with titles. Melo did not. That's why I said he's more synonymous with Darko. Certainly not talent-wise, because Darko ain't in this class. But do you realize the magnitude of that? Do you realize what that means? Do you realize what kind of impact that has had on the career of Carmelo Anthony? All of them have been in the league for 13 years. Chris Bosh and D. Wade. Chris Bosh, 4 straight NBA Finals. D. Wade, 5 NBA Finals appearances overall. LeBron James, 7 NBA Finals appearances overall. Carmelo Anthony, 0. Not 1 appearance in an NBA Finals, despite the star that he is. Fair enough, because he didn't play on contenders the way they did. But here's the thing. He had a chance to, not just once, but twice, and passed up on it for the money. So when you take all of that into consideration, I know who Melo is. I know what he's made of. I believe in this brother's talent. I believe you put Melo in a pivotal finals situation, you will see a superstar of the highest order, because that brother got heart. He ain't never been scared of the moment. The problem is you got to care enough about getting to that moment to actually get there. That's what I'm struggling with right now. Because I know what Melo is. I know what he can be. But I think he's giving people ammunition to beat him down. And that breaks my heart, because I got love for the brother. But I'm looking at an NBA that's getting $2.2 billion a year from television rights alone. Obviously forced to pay these players because of it. And I'm wondering if Melo is a symptom of a bigger issue. And that is simply this. is there an incentive for these guys to even win anymore when you're getting paid this amount of money? LeBron's career screams, yes, there is always that incentive. Melo's, not so much. And we ain't even get to the Conleys and everybody else of the world. 888-MAD-DOG-6 is always the number to call up. That's 888-623-3646. You can reach me right here on my Facebook page, facebook.com/Stephen A. You can reach me on my Twitter page, twitter.com/Stephen A. Smith. You can call in at 888-623-3646. That's 888-MAD-DOG-6. I'm here from 1 to 3 p.m. every day, Eastern Standard Time. Your phone calls and more up in a minute. And remember, Andy Reid, head coach for the Kansas City Chiefs, is coming on the show as well. You're listening live to the Stephen A. Smith Show, Sirius XM, Mad Dog Sports Radio. For the Kansas City Chiefs, Andy Reid covered them in Philadelphia when he's coaching the Eagles. He'll be live for George Truly right here on the Stephen A. Smith Show, Sirius XM, Mad Dog Sports Radio, brought to you by Mercedes-Benz Certified Pre-Owned Vehicles. Visit MBUSA.com/CPO today to learn more about our unlimited mileage warranty. Let's get to the phones at 888-MAD-DOG-6. Let's go to Ed in San Francisco. You're live at Stephen A. on Mad Dog. Ed, how are you? Ed, how are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you very much.
Go ahead, buddy, real quick.
Stephen, real quick. I have to tell you, if you take a guy like LeBron James that you're discussing, he got more payment than we're talking financially than anything by winning that. If you see the passion in that man, the money did not mean anything to him. It's just simply something in the bank account. What he accomplished and what he made happen is worth so much more than any dollar. Same thing with Steph Curry. And then in addition to answer your question, you're trying to say you were figuring it out. What about this? These boys should be on commission. If they make the deal, they get paid. You give them a base salary, and they make the deal. If they're so good, they make it happen, you pay them. If they don't, they've got a little skin in the game. They're going to lose a little.
But you're asking them to be owners and take the risk with you. And the reality of the situation is that a lot of times they don't want to do that. They want those guaranteed dollars.
Well, what's going to happen is if they got together as an organization in basketball and said, look, we're fine paying all this money out, but you know what? The true athletes, the guys that can make it happen, like Steph Curry, and it doesn't matter if it's a Tom Brady or if it's LeBron, you know what they'd say? Give it to me. Let me have it. And if I get it, Some of them will, sir, but you got to think about the body as opposed to the specific individual. You can have one or two players that are above the crowd and they get special deals in special circumstances, or you could do that. But what you do is you set a precedent that you may not want to set, because just like you could do that for the high end players, the owners might turn around and try to do that for the low end players just so they could get rid of guys that they don't want to pay. And so as a result, as a union, you don't necessarily want that because you're thinking about the body and you want to protect everybody to the best of your ability. That's usually the thinking behind that negates such things. But I get where you're coming from, Ed, and I appreciate it. It's a good thought to have, to be quite honest with you. Let's go to Neil in New York. You're live with Stephen A. on Mad Dog. Neil, talk to me. How are you?
What's up, Stephen A? Pleasure to speak to you again.
Thank you.
I wanted to pay respects to John Saunders, and I really appreciate everything he's done, and I really appreciate that. But also wanted to ask you what the realness behind the beef between LeBron and Jordan is, because I feel like Jordan tries to sun him. I mean, like, degrade him, let's say, subliminally.
I'm not aware of a beef per se. I mean, LeBron James has never done anything but spoke glowingly of Jordan, and Jordan thinks that LeBron is the best in the world. I've spoken to Jordan. I've spoken to Jordan on many occasions, and Jordan has profound respect for him. But he thinks the closest thing to him is a Kobe. He looks at a Westbrook who represents his brand and sees that fire in his belly, and it's a little bit different. But Jordan has respect for LeBron.
It seems like he takes subtle shots at him. And plus, that dunk that LeBron did where he stared Jordan down and at the playoffs against Charlotte, I thought there was more behind that.
No.
All right.
Not what I got.
Thank you.
Not what I got. Let's go to Corey in Texas. You're live with Stephen A. and Mad Dog. What's up?
Hey, how you doing, Mr. Smith?
How are you?
Listening to your comments about Melo, he's always, to me, honestly, he's always come across as wanting the money more than anything. I don't know if you know what I'm trying to say, but...
Yeah, I know exactly what you're trying to say, and I can't disagree with you at this point, because after he releases a quote like that, why should you feel any differently?
Yeah, and it's sad because, like you always said, that he's big time. You know, if he's going to be the one that steps up, but he's never just had... It seems like... I'm not trying to question his heart, but it was just...
Well, listen, he's got heart on the court. When he's on the court, he's going at you. He's trying to win, and he's trying to take it to you. There's no doubt about that. The flip side to it, however, is that having said all of that, he's also the same guy that always got his money. He took his money in Denver. He took his money from the New York Knicks when he first arrived there. He took the money again when he had opportunities to go elsewhere, Chicago and L.A., even though Chicago was asking for too much because it would have required that he accepted half of what he could get from New York, and he wasn't going to pass up on $65 million. But he has told me and others he thought very long and hard about going to Chicago. So when you look at it from that perspective, you can't be summarily dismissed for thinking that his money is what he's cared about. You're right about that.
Yeah. And this morning I heard you on First Take, you know, and I think you were absolutely right. If you can't stop, when you were talking about the marijuana issue, if you can't stop yourself from not smoking for that 6 months out of the year, then there's something wrong. There is something absolutely wrong. And I'm
hold on for a second. Hold on for a second, Corey. Let me just enlighten my audience to what you're alluding to. We had a segment today on First Take on ESPN2 where we asked the question, should the NFL just give up testing weed? Max Kellerman, my new partner on First Take, is of the mindset that it shouldn't be tested for. We should just leave it be. We should just leave it alone. That's his belief. The problem with that is that, I don't believe that. Because my mentality is very, very clear and very simple. The NFL has a rule in place. You should stay off the weed. Now, you can sit up there and make an argument that a lot of rules in the workplace should be changed. But if the rule is in play and you still want to jeopardize millions of dollars because you can't stay off the damn weed, shame on you. I have no sympathy for you. That's what you're alluding to.
Yes, exactly. I mean, because I'm ex-military and we had to get tested. I stopped smoking then. I'm a truck driver right now. I haven't touched weed in a few years because I'm trying to better my life, and I know what I could lose. And if you're wanting to smoke, you got your priorities messed up. I mean, I'm not knocking anybody that smokes because I'd be hypocrite for doing that because I used to.
You can knock them for being stupid enough to lose millions because of it.
Yes, I will knock you for that. Yes, I will. But, I mean, come on, guys. I mean, you got to be better than that. I mean, you have to have a lot more self-control than that. And you guys, and they're losing millions. They're just not
losing millions. And then, see, this is the part that really, and I'm going to get real ticked off. Listen, black folks ain't the only folks smoking weed. It's white folks, Hispanic folks, and beyond. So we understand that. But as a black man who understands and knows intimately of the trials and tribulations that some emanating from our community have had to overcome to get to where they are, to throw all of that away because you can't stay off the damn weed, I have no sympathy or compassion for you. You know, and I'm not talking about guys that it ain't costing money to. If it ain't costing you money and you get to live your life and have your career and get paid, right? And while you smoke weed, more power to you. Live it up. Have a good time. I'm cool with Snoop Dogg. You think I don't know Snoop Dogg doesn't smoke weed? But it ain't costing him money. But you're an NFL player, and you're going to let it cost you your career? I ain't got no damn sympathy for you, Corey. I just don't.
Yep. I
appreciate it, man. Appreciate the call, man. Thank you so much. Let's go to, you know what? I'll be back with more phone calls in a minute. You're listening to the Stephen A. Smith Show, Sirius XM Mad Dog. Number one, back here on the Stephen A. Smith Show, Sirius XM Mad Dog Sports Radio. Coming at you as I love to do every weekday afternoon from 1 to 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Let's go back to the phones at 888 Mad Dog 6. That's 888-623-3646. My apologies about Andy Reid. He's on Central Time, so we thought he was coming on at 1:30, and turns out he's coming on in an hour from now. So I apologize for that. Andy Reid, head coach for the Kansas City Chiefs. He'll be on the show a little bit later on today. Back to the phones we go. Let's go to Jason in Alabama. You're live with Stephen A. What's up, Jason?
Yeah, Stephen Smith, man. It's an honor to be on your show again.
Thank you, bro.
Yeah, I watched your TV show on First and 10. I listened to you on radio because I agree with 90%
First
of things you said.
First take, bro. Get it right. First take.
Yes,
Go
sir.
ahead.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. But Carmelo, just by watching him, he seemed like a good person and he got all-around skill. But I do not think New York will be a top team in the East. I think a young team like Boston with the bright futures and draft picks and Al Horford would be ahead of them with them young legs that's healthy, not injury-prone, over Derrick Rose and them guys. And even Toronto. Toronto still might be a step above New York right now. And then you got Cleveland, number one.
Well, listen, I think you got Cleveland, number one. I think you got Toronto and Boston at number 2 or 3. And then after that, it's a crapshoot.
Yes, sir. Yes,
so,
sir.
all right. So if that's the case, what's the problem? Then that means the Knicks can still do some things now.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
Yes, sir.
So I wouldn't rule anything out, is all I'm trying to say. The Knicks are in the thick of it, which is more than I can say for them in recent memory.
Yes, sir. That's why we all on the same boat. Enjoy listening to your show, man.
Thank you, bro. Appreciate the love, Jay. Thanks so much. Let's go to Pablo in New Jersey. You're live with Stephen A. Armando. What's up, Pablo?
Well, I would like to talk to you about the KD situation.
Sure.
Stephen A.
What situation?
I mean, what happened and stuff. In my opinion, I 100% agree with you about it was the weakest move by a superstar. But I'm kind of getting mad at people saying it doesn't matter unless he wins a ring, but it depends, like, the position that you play in order to get that ring. Like, people don't respect Scottie Pippen as much as they respect Michael Jordan because Michael Jordan is mostly responsible for winning the championships. You get what I'm saying?
Well, I don't understand what you're saying.
Meaning, like, remember when LeBron went to Miami and you said if he's not the primary reason why they won a championship, you don't want to hear anything because he has to be the reason. That's what I'm saying about KD.
Yeah, I agree with that. He does have to be the reason, but you know what? Here's the reality. The way Golden State plays ball, everybody's going to get theirs. Everybody's going to get theirs. So, I mean, at the end of the day, Kevin Durant could have 30, but so could Steph Curry and Klay Thompson.
I agree with that.
And so because of that, listen, he jumped on the bandwagon. Listen, I'm not knocking KD for leaving OKC. My point is you don't go to the team that beat you. I'm old school in that regard.
I agree with you on that.
That's where he is. He went to the team that beat him, and nothing's going to change how I feel, but he's still a superstar. He's still one of the top 3 players in the world, and he has a right to do what makes him happy. I just wish it wasn't going to the team that beat you because I consider that to be weak. That's all.
Yeah. Absolutely, but I would prefer to see him go to Miami because, you know, I'd rather be in South Beach instead of Golden State. You feel me?
All right. I appreciate the call, man. Junior, Chicago, you're live with Stephen A. What's up, Junior?
Hello, Stephen A.
How you doing?
I'm good. First-time caller, listen to you every day.
Thank you.
Think you do a wonderful job. Good role model for black guys out there. 2 things. One, when Chris Paul was traded to the Lakers, attempted to be traded to the Lakers, the NBA stepped in. They said, no, that was bad for basketball. At the time, Adam Silver has come out and said that Kevin Durant going to Golden State was bad. So why didn't he do something to stop that move, which I think is even more detrimental to, you know, the NBA than Chris Paul going to the Lakers? And another thing, too, is now that you have, you know, these Golden State in the West, Cleveland in the East, and even you have said that, you know, the season is spoiled because you know who's going to make the finals. Do you think that it's time for the NBA to change up the playoff format to make it a bit more randomized where even you have the top seeds would get home court advantage, yes, but instead of 1v8, you know, first round could be, you know, Cleveland versus Toronto or Cleveland.
Well, let me ask you a question. First of all, the regular season has to mean something. That's number one. Secondly, let's go this different route. Let's say, for example, instead of 1 for 8 in each conference, you went 1 and 16, meaning you took the 16 teams that make the playoffs, right? Yeah. And then you rank them according to their success in basketball this particular season, and you go 1 against 16, 2 against 15, like the NCAA tournament, right?
Right.
Here's my question for you. What if Golden State had to play Boston in the first round?
Well, I guess you run the risk of having, the same lopsidedness, but at least there is an element.
No. You're missing my point. If you do that, the travel alone would kill them.
Okay.
That's your problem. So that's why you have to have West Coast, East Coast, because the travel alone kills them. That's your problem.
But even if let's say you randomize it within the conference, so it's not predictable that it's going to be.
Yeah, but if I got the second best record in the conference, why should I be treated like a 7th seed? Why should I, if I got the second best record in the conference, right? Or why should I have to go up against one of the top teams instead of one of the lower seeded teams?
Okay, I see your point there. I can see that would be a problem for the teams. The regular season must count for something, as you said.
I got you.
But what about the NBA not blocking that deal if they think it was going to be so bad, like what Commissioner Stern.
The NBA blocked the deal because Dan Gilbert was furious that LeBron James had left a few months earlier, and then Chris Paul was going to the Los Angeles Lakers, and on top of it all, getting a whole with the Lakers getting money to boot. So the Lakers were getting the best player. They were saving some money while on top of it all giving away, marginal players for it. And Dan Gilbert said, at the rate it's going, we're going to be the Washington Generals. David Stern was the de facto owner of the New Orleans Hornets at the time, or the New Orleans Hornets at the time. Now they're the Pelicans, but the New Orleans Hornets at the time, because they had an ownership issue and they were trying to find new ownership for the franchise. So until then, the league owned the franchise, and David Stern was the commissioner, which made him the de facto owner, which is why it happened. So that was it. Okay. I got to go, Junior, because I'm spending too much time on this and I got other callers on the line. So I can't revisit it like that. I apologize. Let's go to Tony in Canada. You're live with Stephen A. Amado. What's up, Tony?
Hey, it's a pleasure, Stephen.
I lost your signal. Thanks a lot, man. I appreciate it. Let's go to Jalen in Washington. Call back, and I'll let you on. But let's go to Jalen in Washington. You're live with Stephen A. What's up?
How's it going, man? Big Pacific Northwest fan over here. I'm driving in Seattle traffic right now, and I am excited for the season, for the Seahawks season. But I just want to know what your predictions are for the Blazers.
I think you're going to be a good team. I think you're going to be a good team. You might make it to the second round, and then you're going to go home.
The second round?
You might.
You've been saying that for a while.
That's what happened last year, didn't it?
Yeah, but I think we just picked up a solid new piece, and we're making moves.
Well, go ahead and make them. You going to the second round, you're going home. Just like I told you last year. It doesn't matter. It's probably where you're seating. You'll lose to San Antonio, you'll lose to Golden State, and you'll lose to the Clippers this time if Blake Griffin and Chris Paul are on the court healthy.
I don't know about the Clippers, but I respect that. What about the Seahawks?
I think the Seahawks are one of the elite teams in football. I think Arizona and Carolina will be standing in their way. It all depends on how the regular season unfolds and who they face in the playoffs. But I think the Seahawks will at least get in as a wild card, and they'll be one of the tougher teams in the NFL. Other than that, I got to wait to see them to see what I'm going to predict. Let's go to Mustafa in Vancouver. You're live with Stephen A. What's up?
Hey, man, I hope you're doing well. I know it was a difficult week for you. I wish you all the best and the entire ESPN family.
Thanks,
I just want to quickly comment on two things. The first thing is about Carmelo Anthony with the Olympics here. I'm not even a Knicks fan. I've been watching the Knicks for a long time. I'll never forget when Patrick Ewing missed that layup in Game 7 in the mid-'90s. I think that was the downfall of the Knicks ever since. But with him thinking about saying that 3 Olympic gold medals he's going to be satisfied with that, I think that's just leaves a bad taste in the minds of New Yorkers. I think that's horrible. He should be thinking about a championship. I agree wholeheartedly with you. And I'm not looking forward to this NBA season, Stephen A. I mean, we all know who's going to make the finals. I'm a Canadian, so I'm a Raptor fan. And I don't like where this is headed, but I just want to also comment on Ray Rice. I think he deserves a second chance in the NFL. I think society is too unforgiving, and I think that everything's too politically correct, and that what the sad reality is that anything that he does later on in life, even after football, he'll always be associated with that incident. And I'm not saying a man should ever touch a woman, put the hands on a woman, but even no matter what he does, and that's a sad reality, society is way too unforgiving. And I feel for the young man, and I wish him all the best.
Got you. I appreciate it, man. Thank you so much. 888 Mad Dog 6 is always the number to call up. This 888-623-3646. More with Stephen A. on Sirius XM. Mad Dog Sports Radio in a minute.
Morning Men with Evan and Babchick.
888 Mad Dog 6 is always the number to call up. This 888-623-3646. You know, I see somebody on the line that wants to talk to me about Tim Tebow. I'll get more into it in hour number 2, but I want to say I totally agree with Buck Showalter, manager for the Baltimore Orioles. And I think everybody's missing the point. Buck Showalter is talking about what you're supposed to be doing, the process that you're supposed to go through. The fact that you sit up there and just because you're popular allows you to get all that shine, even though you're marginal, is a problem. There's a whole bunch of brothers out there that are starving for an opportunity to be seen, that want to give it somebody, that are starving for the opportunity to be recognized and noticed for what they do. And they don't get the media clamoring about them, putting videos of them on national television and all of that other stuff. Now, if this was Tim Tebow on football, that's different. He won a national title. Won a couple of national titles at Florida. And even though he couldn't throw worth a damn, completing only 46.5% of his passes, Tim Tebow was in the NFL. He was a starting quarterback. He did go 7-4 and win a playoff game against the Pittsburgh Steelers. What the hell has he done in baseball to warrant him getting a cliff note, let alone a damn article, getting a mention, let alone damn video? Are you kidding me? Really? Nah. I got a problem with that. I just do. 888 Mad Dog 6 is always the number to call up. This 888-623-3646. I'm periscoping this show right now for those of y'all. I'm doing it for the first time. I don't even know how to damn turn the camera around. You understand what I'm saying? So I could see some of y'all messages. I literally got the camera turned around on me because I never used Periscope before while I was doing radio. This is the first. I want to see how it would work. Let's go to the phones. Let's go to Jamal in Detroit. You're live with Stephen A. I'm at it. What's up, Jamal?
Stephen A., what's going on, man?
I'm good. Talk to me.
Hey, man, I blame it all on the NFL as to why Tim Tebow is trying to play baseball. I think one of the biggest tragedies in sports that ever happened is that Tim Tebow never got a whole year as a starter, regardless of how his practice is, regardless of how he throws. Tim Tebow is a winner. And Tim Tebow was a winner in college.
Whoa. You just said Tim Tebow was a winner. When was he a winner other than college?
He took the Denver Broncos to the playoffs.
Stop it. Did you call Mark Sanchez a winner? Did you call up here and call Mark Sanchez a winner? He took the Jets to 2 consecutive AFC championship games, and he completed more than 46% of his passes. Did you call up to this show and call Mark Sanchez a winner? Yes or no?
Mark, no, I didn't.
All right, then. So why are you calling up to call Tim Tebow a winner then? What's the problem?
But Mark Sanchez keeps getting chance after chance after chance. Tim Tebow, never was
please.
A whole year as a starter.
And listen, at least I'm willing. Stop it. At least I'm willing to admit I love soap operas. At least I'm willing to admit I watch General Hospital. And Eric Braden, who plays Victor Newman on Young and the Restless, is one of my best friends. At least I'm willing to admit that. What soap opera are you watching? Because you're playing the violins for Tim Tebow. What soap opera, Jamal, are you watching? What do you like to watch?
Man,
what's the name of the soap opera? What is it?
I don't watch soap operas.
You don't watch soap operas? But you gonna call up here singing that nonsense about Tim Tebow right now? Really?
Hey, man, it's the truth, man. It's the truth.
You gotta be kidding me, man. Have a nice day, man. Really? Stop. Hour number 2 up next. Got a couple of guests coming on, including Andy Reid, head coach for the Kansas City Chiefs. Listening live to the Stephen A. Smith Show, Sirius XM. Mad Dog Sports Radio. More with you in a minute.
When champions are crowned in college sports, they talk with College Sports Nation.
Head coach of the national champion Villanova Wildcats, Jay Wright, how are you?
To win it is pretty amazing.
We're with Coach Nick Saban.
And I think we played harder for longer than anybody else, and that's probably why we won.
We have Coach Bresci, national champion coach of the Carolina Tar Heels.
Just an incredible day for the Cross. It was just fantastic.
Your flagship for college sports, College Sports Nation. Channel 84.
Do you have...
The Stephen A. Smith Show starts right now.
Hour number 2. Here with you on the Stephen A. Smith Show and with you until the top of the 3 o'clock hour when I pass it off to the namesake for the channel, Christopher Mad Dog Russo, with his afternoon drive show right here on Mad Dog Sports Radio, Channel 82. 888 Mad Dog 6 is always the number to call up. That's 888-623-3646. Before Andy Reid comes on the show at 30 minutes past the hour, head coach for the Kansas City Chiefs, I have NFL analyst extraordinaire, former 2-time champion with the Denver Broncos, used to block for the likes of John Elway, now an outstanding NFL analyst for ESPN. My man, my buddy, the one and only Mark Schlereth is on the line with us right now. What's going on, big time? How are you?
I'm good, Stephen A. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing great, man. Let's get right to it. Got some NFL items to talk to you about. Tyrod Taylor, quarterback for the Buffalo Bills, 3,035 passing yards, 20 touchdowns, just 6 interceptions last season with a QBR of 67.8. But his first season as a starting quarterback, only 1 year of a resume that he has. But he got a contract extension from the Bulls today, or from the Buffalo Bills, rather. Talk to me about your thoughts about that.
Listen, man, I am a big fan of Tyrod Taylor. I think he throws maybe arguably the best deep ball in the National Football League. Tyrod Taylor only going to get better, and you know this, in the National Football League, if you don't have a quarterback, man, you can't win. This guy is a guy that the Broncos coveted. The Broncos were trying to find a way to work a trade with the Buffalo Bills for Tyrod Taylor after they lost Brock Osweiler in free agency. They liked him. Gary Kubiak coached him as a backup in Baltimore, wanted to bring him to Denver with him. They actually tried to sign him as a free agent, but he ended up signing in Buffalo, having a pretty good year last year. You read the numbers, 20 TDs, 6 interceptions. I think the meter on Tyrod Taylor is way up. I'm a big fan. I'd like to actually see them get him out of the pocket more, use his athleticism more. But I think the guy has got great, again, potential. Can be a dirty word, you know that. But I think this guy's got great upside potential. He's a competitor. He plays well from the pocket. I'm really excited about him as a player in the future years.
Mark, for me, I think it puts even more pressure on Rex Ryan. Essentially, what the Buffalo Bills have said is, we're very confident that we have a quarterback. This is not the New York Jets where you had a defense, but you kept leaning on the fact that you couldn't find a quarterback. You have a quarterback. You have Sammy Watkins as your wideout. You've got LaShawn McCoy as your running back. If the Bills can't get over the hump, I think that Rex Ryan's in the danger zone this year. I really do.
I don't think there's any question. It's either get in the playoffs or we're going to find somebody else who can get us in the playoffs. Because you look at them, they were one of the top-rated defenses in football the year before Rex Ryan got there. Mm-hmm. And Rex Ryan is this defensive kind of wizard, quote-unquote, brings all these exotic schemes. You're talking about one of the best teams as far as sacking the quarterback is concerned, running a 4-3 defense, with Mario Williams. Then all of a sudden, you change things up. You got Mario drop, and you got different things. You're not using your players' strengths because your system is, you think it's the best system in the world. And they really dropped off the table last year. So, number one, they're going to have to be much better as they implement Rex Ryan's system on the defensive side of the ball. But I'm with you 100%. If Rex Ryan is not coaching the Buffalo Bills into the playoffs next season, Rex Ryan, that will be the last stop as a head coach in the National Football League.
And how does a Rex Ryan defense, one he inherited, by the way, but the one he inherited had 54 sacks the year before and dropped to 21 last year. How the hell does that happen?
Well, you rely on your system and you plug components, you plug players into your system that don't fit in that system. I mean, that's the bottom line. Part of being a great coach in my mind, Stephen A., is adjusting whatever your system is to the talent that you have. So you have to be able to look at guys' strengths and weaknesses and accentuate the strengths with the system and eliminate the weaknesses with the system. And I go back to my own career, and you always have to lean on things that you know. My own career, man, late in my career, the last 3 or 4 years, the Broncos didn't allow me to pull anymore. So power from left to right, where I would have pulled in a power system, they just eliminated that play. We don't use that play anymore. We'll pull the right guard, but we ain't pulling our left guard anymore, because we know that you, as a player, meaning me, you can zone block with the best of them. You're great, X, Y, and Z you're great at. A, B, and C, man, you're too beat up to do A, B, and C, so we're just going to take it out of our playbook. That, to me, is great coaching.
Mark Schlereth right here with Stephen A., Sirius XM, Mad Dog Sports Radio. Let's transition to some of the games that we saw last night. We saw the Eagles play last night. We saw the Redskins and Falcons play last night. We saw Mark Sanchez and Trevor Siemian play in Denver last night. We saw Carson Wentz. We saw Jimmy Garoppolo for the Patriots play last night against the Saints. What were your thoughts on what did you peel from what you saw last night? What stood out of your mind of all the preseason games? What stood out of your mind most?
Well, I think a couple of things. I thought the Jacksonville Jaguars, this is why I always say the games don't count, but they do matter. The Jacksonville Jaguars lose to the New York Jets. They physically dominated the Jets in that first quarter with Bortles playing quarterback. Allen Robinson, Allen Hurns looked great. They really put it on the Jets, both offensively and defensively. I was really impressed with them early. The Broncos, line up at the first cuts. Teams are going to line up. 31 teams are going to line up and try to pick up players that the Broncos are going to have to cut. The depth on the defensive side of the ball, Broncos didn't start. Almost 40% of their starting off, or defense, Aqib Talib doesn't play. Chris Harris Jr. doesn't play. DeMarcus Ware doesn't play. Von Miller doesn't play. And they came in waves. The first team, the second team, the third team. They put a thumping on the Chicago Bears. They're going to be lined up. Sanchez actually played pretty well, threw a great touchdown, but then made the one mistake that just goes, oh, yeah, that's right. He's Mark Sanchez. I almost forgot for a minute. I thought Carson Wentz, even though the stats said, he only completed 50%, I thought he showed some stuff, climbing the pocket, making a throw early in that game, scrambling around a little bit. So I think there was a lot of positives. You can glean a lot of information, and the one thing I think you have to look at when you're watching preseason football is pay no attention to the score. Who can physically dominate and impose their will with what they want to do on the other team? Those are the teams that you look at and you go, regardless of what the score is, that team's got something about them. They've got some, there's some juice about them. That's what I'm looking for in the preseason.
Did you walk away from watching the Philadelphia Eagles wondering how soon it's going to be before Carson Wentz is their starting quarterback? Or did you find yourself saying, there's no way he's not going to be in the starting lineup by week 8, halfway through the season? What were your thoughts about Carson Wentz?
Yeah, I thought it was just a matter of time. I just think, I think he brings some energy. He's going to make some mistakes. He's going to have some bad reads. There are some things in the West Coast offense with, being precise with your footwork in a 3-step or a 5-step, because the routes you're running with those things coincide with the steps and how quickly you get there. So if you overstep or you understep, that timing of the route and the throw is going to be off. Those things are part of the learning curve and the growing process for a young quarterback. But just the energy that he brings, the athleticism he brings, for me, it's night and day between him and Sam Bradford. Like, every time I look at Sam Bradford, he's got that, I don't want to call him scared, but hyper alert. Those eyes are saucer plates. And every time I watch him, I'm like, I don't know, but if I was in the huddle, I don't know that I would believe that this guy can lead me to a victory on a consistent basis. I want somebody who's got something about him that just makes me feel confident. Carson Wentz, at least, even though he only completed 50%, he made me feel that way. Sam Bradford has never made me feel that way.
Mark Schlereth right here with Stephen A. Sirius XM Mad Dog Sports Radio. Let's transition to some of the games that are going on tonight. I'm particularly interested in seeing what Eli Apple is going to do. Number 10th overall pick for the New York Giants. He's going to play one of their corners. We know that the Giants and Jerry Reese invested over $200 million on the defensive side of the ball in the offseason. Talk to me a little bit about the Giants, but primarily about Eli Apple. What should we expect from him based on what we saw and based on what you've heard?
Yeah, well, what I've heard is he's struggled in camp a little bit, a lot of grabbing, a lot of tugging, a lot of pulling, a lot of penalties. Going to have to certainly clean those things up. There's no question about that. The beauty of the New York Giants, philosophically anyhow, on paper anyhow, is this defensive line should be vastly improved. So some of that stuff you can get away with early in the down. You can't get away with it late, but you can get away with it with a little clutching and grabbing early in the down. So as long as they're applying pressure, I think that will obviously bode well for Eli Apple, but he's going to have to get to the point where he can cover guys without grabbing guys. Like if you establish yourself and you're one of the best in the business, they'll give you a little bit more leeway as far as hand play is concerned. But for Eli Apple, they ain't going to give him any leeway. So he's going to have to get better from that standpoint. This defensive line, how they react, the money they spend on Olivier Vernon and Snacks, and what JPP ultimately looks like, because you can't argue his talent, you can't argue his athleticism, you can't argue his effort. But last year, incredibly hindered, and of course you would be when you lose half of your hand. But the talk was, I'm going to go back to the glove. I'm not going to cast it up. To use the digits you can to grab, because where he really struggled is he set guys up all the time last year, but he either couldn't get off blocks in the running game, or he couldn't get that grab pull to get himself through at the last minute on pass rush. And so there were a lot of opportunities where he would have had sacks or at least pressures, where he didn't get those because offensive linemen were able to adjust because he couldn't grab with that hand. So I'm really interested to see the progression and if he gets more use of the hand than he had last year, because it really hindered his performance last year.
Just a couple more questions for Mark Schlereth right here with Stephen A. Sirius XM Mad Dog Sports Radio. Let me make sure I'm correct. Mark Schlereth, you got a son? You got a son?
Yes.
Does he play baseball?
Yes. He does.
Okay. Got to ask this question. Tim Tebow played football. Now he wants to play baseball. What was your reaction when you first heard that news?
You know what? Almost embarrassed. I almost felt like it's disrespectful to all the guys who have put in the time. It's the hardest game in the world to play. You fail 7 out of 10 times, you're a Hall of Famer. And all the guys who have devoted their life to that sport, to say, hey, you know what, now I haven't played since I was 17, 12 years ago, but now all of a sudden, because I'm a hard worker, I'm a good athlete, I'm going to, chase my professional baseball dream. First thing that comes to my mind is, now wait a minute, I have talked to general managers that offered you an opportunity to continue your NFL career if only switching positions.
That's right.
No, thank you. I also know that he had a contract to play Canadian football, to go hone his skills as a quarterback, to play in the Canadian Football League where Doug Flutie, by the way, Hall of Famer Warren Moon had to go to play to hone their skills. No, thank you. That's not big enough for me. Mm-hmm. But now all of a sudden you're going to go ride buses in minor leagues to chase your quote unquote, baseball dream. If you truly had a baseball dream, and I'm not one to call you to say, call BS, but if you truly had a baseball dream, why'd you quit playing as a junior? Didn't Jameis Winston, who was the first overall pick just a year ago, didn't he play baseball all at Florida State until he became draft eligible? Did he not continue to chase that dream? To me, it looks like a publicity stunt. And it's disrespectful to everybody who's played that game as hard as that game is to sit there and say, oh, yeah, he's gonna come right out because he's so hard. He's such a hard worker and such a good guy. And he is. He's a hard worker. He's a good guy. But that game is, it's incredibly tough. My son went 7 weeks in the minors and went right to the big leagues. Then he tore up his shoulder, after 4 years in the big leagues or parts of 4 seasons in the big leagues. Man, he ain't sniffed the big leagues since because he's been injured, and he keeps working and trying. But I just found it a little bit disrespectful, Stephen A. That's all.
I've been saying it for days. You gonna just show up, and here's the thing that bothers me: how difficult. Now you're Mark Schlereth. You're a 2-time Super Bowl champion, okay? 2-time Super Bowl champion. You played with John Elway, all right? You're on national TV every day. How difficult was it for your son just to get recognized? Just to get recognized.
Yeah, you got to work. You have got to work your tail off. Just work your tail off, and in front of every game, in front of scouts, game after game after game. Yeah, very difficult.
But Tim Tebow sits there and decides that he wants to play baseball, and the media clamoring to him. I think it annoys me. I'm not going to lie to you. It drives me crazy. Before I let you get on out of here, Mark Schlereth, I'm getting ready to have Andy Reid on this show in a little while. Head coach for the Kansas City Chiefs. Ended the season last year winning 10 straight after going 1-5 in their first 6 games, and obviously winning the playoff game against the Houston Texans 30-0. Before losing to New England in the divisional playoff round. Your thoughts about what your expectations are for the Kansas City Chiefs based on what you saw last year?
Yeah, interestingly enough, I think the big thing is the change in offense that they went through with Alex Smith really starting to push the ball down the field, the way his offensive line developed, the way they ran the ball. The big concern for me with Andy Reid is this defense. Justin Houston not going to play, at least 6, maybe 8 weeks with the ACL. You lose Sean Smith. He goes to the Raiders from the cornerback position. You're depleted a little bit on the defensive side of the ball, which was really a great leader for you early in this NFL season or last NFL season. So how you overcome those losses on the defensive side of the ball. Oh, by the way, Eric Berry still doesn't have a contract, right? This guy, NFL comeback player of the year, fighting off a cancer and all what a wonderful performer he is. How does that affect this team? There's a lot of things that are really interesting about the Kansas City Chiefs. I think they'll be competitive. I think that division, the first team to win 10 games wins that division. I think it'll be the Broncos, especially based on what their defense has been able to accomplish. But we shall see, because I think it's a pretty tightly wound division, the AFC West.
Hey, listen, man, I owe you an apology because I forgot you won 3 rings instead of 2.
That's all right.
I actually robbed you of a ring. I forgot about the Redskins. I'm sorry, man.
That's all right. Those are the early days.
I appreciate it, man. Thanks so much, man. I'll talk to you soon.
Anytime, Stephen A.
Right,
be
buddy.
Good, bud.
All right. The one and only Mark Schlereth right here with Stephen A. Sirius XM Mad Dog Sports Radio. That extra Super Bowl ring is pretty damn important. Shame on me for forgetting that he won 3 instead of 2. My apologies. I kept thinking about him with Elway, and I assumed it was 2. I should have known better. My apologies to Mark Schlereth. 888 Mad Dog 6 is always the number to call up. That's 888-623-3646. More of your phone calls in a minute before the head coach for the Kansas City Chiefs, Andy Reid, comes on the show. Stick around. It's Stephen A. It's Sirius XM. It's Mad Dog Sports Radio, Channel 82.
Every 4 years, memories are made.
The U.S. is going to finish on top, ending with that exclamation point by Simone Biles.
Dreams are realized.
Michael Phelps wins his 20th goal.
And records are broken.
Coming on the show with us, and of course, head coach for the Kansas City Chiefs, Mr. Andy Reid, is scheduled to be on the show with us in approximately 8 minutes. It's been a long time since I spoke to Andy Reid. Covered him while he was in Philadelphia with the Eagles. He's a damn good man. He really, really is. I know he got the rough exterior and very stoic and straightforward and no nonsense, but a true class act, a good man. And I'm looking forward to talking to him on the show. Actually, I'm honored that he's coming on. It's a really good feeling. I'm looking forward to talking to him. 888 Mad Dog 6 is always the number to call up. That's 888-623-3646. Let's go back to the phones. Let's go to Teddy in New Jersey. You're live with Stephen A. on Mad Dog. Teddy, how are you?
Hey, how you doing, Stephen?
I'm good. Talk to me.
Hey, I'm a big Philly fan. I miss Andy Reid a lot, so I'm looking forward to hearing him. But I completely agree with you on the Tim Tebow thing. But here's my thing on minor league baseball. Isn't it kind of gimmicky? I mean, wouldn't bringing him in, I'm not saying it's the right thing to do, but maybe to like boost revenue, boost excitement. I don't know.
You talk about Tim Tebow, but listen, why does the NFL need that? Tell me what succeeds the NFL. Do you realize the NFL preseason game would outrate the Olympics? You realize that?
No, I understand that. I'm talking about baseball. I'm talking about minor league baseball.
Listen, we understand that part, but here's the flip side to it. The part that's nauseating about it is because he's Tim Tebow. He's liked.
I agree.
And so when you have that and others would never get that opportunity, it just smacks of the level of favoritism that debunks the notion of a meritocracy existing in the world of sports. That's the one thing that we got to remember. Sports, more so than any other forum, is considered a meritocracy. When a guy like Tim Tebow is able to capitalize off of his popularity and his cachet, it shoves aside the notion that sports is a meritocracy, because clearly he doesn't have the merits to warrant an opportunity.
I completely agree with you. Now, going back years ago, obviously, when Jordan was playing, and he did not a similar thing, but what was your perspective on that, him going to play baseball?
Well, my perspective on it is that it was senseless to me. It made no sense because he's Michael Jordan, but at the same time, it was for a minor league system owned by the owner of the Chicago Bulls, who he had delivered 6 titles to and had established himself universally as the greatest player we'd ever seen. In the case of Tim Tebow, what has he done?
I agree. I mean, I'm completely in your corner on this, but when I'm thinking about minor league baseball, I'm thinking of I've been to a game. It's like almost like a circus.
I understand. They got to find a reason to sell tickets. I get it.
Exactly. I'm not saying that's taken away from another player. I completely agree with you on that, but I can see it's just another look at it.
I got it. Appreciate the call. Let's go to Ray in San Diego. You're live with Stephen A. on Mad Dog. Ray, what's up?
Happy Friday to you, Stephen A. How are you?
Happy Friday to you. What's going on?
Yeah, I just want to talk about the Joey Bosa situation here in San Diego. I think ownership has faced so many problems over the last, I'll say 15 years, that they can't allow this. They can't allow this to slip through their fingers. They need to get Joey Bosa back to camp, no matter what. I think he also needs to man up and maybe tell his agent, his family, you know what, let me get in camp, get what you guys got to get done. It's like 2 main issues. It's about
the San Diego Chargers dropped the ball. San Diego Chargers dropped the ball, Ray. Before the NFL draft, you do your due diligence, you do your homework, and you understand that your rule, hard and fast as it may be, isn't shared by most teams in the NFL, and a lot of those athletes would have, a lot of those organizations would have settled for Joey Bosa's demands. When Joey Bosa sits up there and he says he wants no offset language in his contract, or he wants all his cash for that first year up front as a signing bonus, you can't knock him for that. Make adjustments one or the other.
Definitely. I agree with you, and I believe this is the reason why upper management and ownership has failed, here in San Diego, all of our fans, because we're diehard fans. There's not many of us, but the ones that are here, we're rowdy. We're ready to go for it, but I feel like it for some reason, they nip us in the bud of giving us a championship season.
I will tell you this. I wouldn't call San Diego fans rowdy.
There's few of us. There's not too many of us.
Y'all look quite comfortable in that beautiful California sunshine, I must confess.
Yeah, but the ones that are truly fans that are born and raised here in San Diego, there's not many of us because there's a lot of implants here in San Diego because how beautiful it is. But we love our team. You know what I mean? And we'll go down swinging with them.
All right.
One more question for you.
Hurry up.
Bulls over 50 wins or under 50 wins?
Under. Goodbye.
Under.
Peter in St. Louis, you're live with Stephen A. What's up?
Stephen A., I'm calling you out, man. I'm calling you a hypocrite because to call Tim Tebow out is telling me that he leverages celebrity status just like you do. I've seen you at NBA games. I don't see you sitting anywhere, beyond the 5th row. How do you pay for those tickets? How did you get a TV show? Because you leverage your celebrity status.
Let me stop you right there. Let me stop you right there. Sir, you don't know what the hell you're talking about. you are clueless. First of all, it's almost never that I'm sitting at an NBA game. I'm usually standing because I don't want to take a seat, because it's people like you who would usually bother somebody like me by talking to me during a game, interrupting fans that are there trying to enjoy the game, etc. So I usually don't grab a seat. You can call any PR member for any NBA team in the league, and they will tell you Stephen A. usually doesn't even require a seat. I usually stand and I walk around or go to the back rather than stand in one area all game long because I don't want to bother anybody. But I'm usually there working, sir. That's what I'm usually doing, because I have to usually work pregame and I have to usually work postgame. Secondly, as it pertains to my TV show, it's something that came to me and was offered to me. It's not something that I said, oh my goodness, I'm a journalist for the Philadelphia Inquirer, so I deserve to be here. They noticed my talent, wanted me there, and that is that. Thirdly, and most importantly, Peter, and I hate to come across as disrespectful to Tim Tebow because I really don't mean to, but I got news for you. In this business that we're in, I'm a hell of a lot closer to a LeBron or Kobe or an MJ than I am to a Tebow in terms of my talent and abilities. Tim Tebow ain't that on the NFL level, and you can book that. So when you talk about Tim Tebow and you try to use me as an example, you are completely misinformed and lost. And God, I wish I had more time to talk to you because I got to go to Andy Reid. Please call back tomorrow with that bogus nonsense you just spewed in my direction, because I promise you, even though I will not cuss you out, it will feel that way. Have a nice day. Oh, he's lucky I got to go to Andy Reid for the Kansas City Chiefs. Comparing Tim Tebow to me? Tim Tebow, the football player, compared to Stephen A., the broadcaster? Really? How much money you got? How much money do you have? I'd take that bet any day. No disrespect to Tim Tebow, who's a very nice guy. 888 Mad Dog 6 is the number to call up. This 888-623-3646. Andy Reid, head coach for the Kansas City Chiefs. Up next with Stephen A. on Mad Dog. Past hour number 2 back here on the Stephen A. Smith Show. Sirius XM Mad Dog Sports Radio. We'll get back to the phone calls in just a little while, but it is my honor and privilege to have my next guest on the line. We haven't spoken in quite some time, but I've always been a fan of this man, a damn good man, a damn good coach, doing a great job for the Kansas City Chiefs. I'm talking about head coach Andy Reid, who is kind enough to be on the line with us today. Coach, long time no speak, buddy. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing great, man. I can't complain. First things first, how's training camp going? How you feeling about your team this year, buddy?
It's going good. You know, we've got some good work in, and the guys have got a great attitude. They got a little taste of it last year, Stephen A. We made it to the playoffs and we won a game, and you get that taste in your mouth, man. It drives you through the off season, and you want a little bit more. So that's the approach that these guys have taken this year.
After starting 1-5 last year, you guys won 10 straight before beating the Texans 30-0 in the postseason. I mean, how did that turnaround happen, particularly when you consider the fact that y'all were 11-1 without Jamal Charles, who went down in Week 5, I think, against Chicago? How did that happen, Coach?
You know, I'm blessed to have a good locker room, and the guys all hung together, and they just we took it up a notch. We took it up a notch as coaches. We took it up a notch as players, and good things happened. So they never questioned the coach. The coaches never questioned the players. The players never questioned the coaches, and that's rare in this league. That's a tough thing, especially when you start off that way. You can kind of go in the tank, and our guys never did that.
How does a coach make sure that happened? How do players come together and make sure that doesn't happen after going through a 1-5 start, considering how intense the National Football League is? How do guys pull that off? How does a team pull that off, Coach?
Well, you got to have good character guys in the locker room. I mean, you have to have that, and then there's got to be a trust between the coaches and the players. And we were just off by a hair in most of the games, with the exception of the Green Bay game. We were off by just a hair in those other games, and so we felt like with a bounce right here or there that we'd be okay. So And then I think, you know, and you know this. I mean, you've been around this thing for so long, and you played, and the guys, they just want to be told the truth. Don't try to, you know, pull something over on them. Just give them what's real, and then go from there. And we did. We kind of stuck to the process, and we didn't change a bunch of things. We just everybody just did a little bit better and worked a little bit harder.
Talking to Andy Reid, head coach for the Kansas City Chiefs, right here with Stephen A., Sirius XM Mad Dog Sports Radio. Speaking of Jamal Charles, who was lost for most of last season with that ACL injury, he's still not practicing. Is that correct, Coach?
Yeah, that's correct. He can just work with the trainers.
All right. Is there any concern there at all?
Not really. He's doing well. I know he can play, so I'm not. He's got a number of years under his belt here, so I'm not worried about that part of it. He understands the offense, and it's just a matter of getting him back healthy. I told our guys, you just get that part taken care of, and then we'll worry about the football part. So that's where we're at. And this kid is one. You'd love him. I mean, he's one of the greatest kids ever, and he just busts his tail, does everything he's supposed to do, and he does it the right way, and he loves to play the game. I mean, he loves it. So I'm not real worried about him as far as that goes.
I gotta admit, the guy is special. I mean, when you consider, what is it, a career average 5.5 yards per carry, ranked second amongst active players. I mean, that's unbelievable. But then you've got Charkandrick West and Spencer Ware, who both filled in admirably for him in his absence, and you re-signed both of those guys. So does that mean we're going to see you guys running the ball pretty much most of the game this year as well?
Yeah, you know better than that now. I mean, it's.
I know.
We'll mix it up, but I mean, it's. We got to. You're beautiful.
You know, I was going to ask that.
Yeah. No, we'll mix it in there. We like to run it, but we also you got to keep the defense off balance. So you can't do one thing all the time.
Oh, trust me, I know. I'm talking to Andy Reid, coach of the Kansas City Chiefs. So trust me, I know this. But coach, let's talk about Alex Smith for a second, because I got to admit, I got to confess, I'm done underestimating this guy. I mean, I've underestimated him a lot when he was in San Francisco, a little bit less when he was with you. But the guy is just gotten to the point where the guy just wins games. What is it about Alex Smith that has so many of us always asking questions, despite the fact that wherever he goes, he seems to win some football games for you?
Yeah, you know, he started off, and you remember this when we were at Philadelphia, that we played them when he was fresh in the league, and it seemed like we played him either every year or every other year for a stretch there, and so we got to see, number one, that he had a lot of offensive coordinators that he was learning from, and really never had a stable situation until Jim got there. And then things turned around for him, and he did well. And then the whole he got hurt, and the Kaepernick thing took place. And then that's where I kind of fell in the picture here at Kansas City, and it just kind of worked out where we were able to get him. And I love the kid. He's brilliant. He's the first one in and the first one out. The last one out of here, and he just he does everything you ask him to do and a little bit more. And he's a tremendous leader for these players. The guys love him, and so I've been very happy with him.
Would that explain why is it that you basically brought Nick Foles on this squad? I mean, what's going on with that?
Yeah, so I've got a young bunch of guys that are behind Alex that I think are really going to be good players, but they have no NFL experience. So I brought Nick on just for that reason. I just had a little bit of a security blanket there to have somebody with some NFL experience. But these other guys can play now, and they're good players. It's just a matter of them having that opportunity.
Andy Reid, head coach for the Kansas City Chiefs, right here with Stephen A., Sirius XM Mad Dog Sports Radio. Let's go to the defensive side of the ball. We all know that Eric Berry, what battles he had and how he came back from that, and it was just an inspiration to so many people out there. He's still with you. He's yet to sign his franchise tag or report to camp, however. When do you expect him back?
You know, I don't know exactly. I mean, I'm taking myself kind of out of that business with the personnel part of it, and since I've come to Kansas City, I'll tell you, whenever he comes, he's welcome back from my end, and I can't wait to get him back in the mix. You're talking about a great human being now, and somebody that the people here love, not only the fans, but also the people here with the Chiefs. And it didn't work out during contract negotiation. That doesn't mean it's not going to work out down the road. I mean, you never know in this stinking business. So, but we look forward to getting him back in whenever that time is. We look forward to getting him back in here, and he's a big part of this football team.
Coach, a lot of times when anybody thinks about Kansas City defense, they think about two individuals. You got a Tamba Ali and you got Justin Houston. When I think about Ali, I think about the fact that he's 33. I think about the fact that for the third time in 4 years, he's he hasn't had double-digit sacks. They're both coming off of all-season surgery. How concerned are you about those guys? And have they been in practice? I mean, what's the situation with them right now?
Yeah, so Tamba, neither one have been in practice. So okay. Tamba, he's closer than what Justin is. Justin had that injury late in the year there, that last game. So getting Justin back is going to take some time, and we're just kind of working. He's working through that with the trainers, and then Tamba's a little bit closer, and even though he hasn't had double-digit sacks, he demands respect from the offenses that we play against, and this guy has got one of those relentless motors. You remember how Q used to just bring it and bring it, and that's this kind of heart right here. And this guy just brings it and brings it and brings it. So I love it. He's a tremendous football player.
Let me get to you for a second. 3 years in Kansas City, 11-5, 9-7, 11-5, all winning seasons. 2 times you made the playoffs. You've been around for a long time. You coached in Philly for many, many years. You gave us a lot of great moments. Talk to me about what the game is like for you to still be coaching in the National Football League. You don't seem to be looking to walk away from this sport anytime soon. You seem to really, really be loving your job. Talk to me about what's life like for you these days.
Stephen A., man, we're just hitting our prime, man. I mean, come on. I mean, I'm loving every minute of it. It's a great situation. I love Philadelphia. I mean, I have nothing. I'm a go Birds guy, so I'm all in for both teams here. But I just there's a great situation here. The organization's phenomenal. Clark Hunt, the CEO of the organization, is a great person to work for. And listen, I'm one out of 32 guys in the whole world that has an opportunity to do this, and I love and cherish every minute of it.
You talked about stepping away from, that business side of the business per se.
Right.
When did you decide to do that, and what was the specific reason you did decide to do it, Coach?
Well, it took time away from the football part of it, and so I wanted to get back in. I wanted to coach, and I got into this to coach football and to deal with the players and in the coaching area, not in the contract area. So
right.
I enjoyed it for the time I did it, but I wanted to get back in and get more involved with the offense and not because I didn't have great offensive coaches. I mean, I had Marty Morningwig, who was phenomenal, and so it wasn't because of that. It was just because I missed being in there in the room and going to it. And so that's why I decided to go that direction.
Couple of more questions before I let you go, Coach. You got co-offensive coordinators, if I remember correctly, and Brad Childress and Matt Nagy promoted to their co-offensive coordinators. Is that correct?
Yes.
Why is that? I mean, especially with you, because you know a thing or two about offense, and you got 2 of those guys. Why did you feel the need to have a co-offensive coordinator? Because we usually don't hear about that much in the National Football League.
Yeah, it is unique, but I thought it was right. I felt like it was the right thing to do. Matt's a young guy that's an up-and-comer, and I think the sky's the limit for him. And Brad had been my coordinator before, and so I wanted to keep an open door for a young guy to come up through and not, so they kept it kind of fluid. And hopefully Brad, my hope is that Brad gets a head coaching job here. I mean, he did a phenomenal job, I thought, at Minnesota, and I'm hoping somebody gives him an opportunity, and at the same time, I'm able to bring up this young guy that I think, in Matt Nagy, that I think is tremendous.
Last question for you, Coach. Doug Peterson was your former offensive coordinator. He's now the coach of the Philadelphia Eagles. How do you think he's going to do, and how happy for you, how happy for him or you that he's coaching your former team?
Yeah, listen, I'm.
Hello?
They come out and I mean, it started right from the get-go, right from the kickoff,
right,
with the fumble there, and they picked it up. So I'm happy for Doug. He's deserving of the honor to coach the Philadelphia Eagles, and so Jeffrey made a decision to bring him in, and I completely support it.
Hey, Coach, I don't know if I've lost you or not, but if you could hear me, I'm really happy for you. I wish you nothing but the best, all the best to you and the Kansas City Chiefs moving forward, and we'll talk to you down the line, buddy. Thank you so much, Coach. I think I lost you. I don't know if I could hear you or not now, but thank you again, Coach Andy Reid. I really appreciate the time. Really do. 888 Mad Dog 6 is always the number to call up. That's 888-623-3646. Your phone calls to close out the show. Up next with Stephen A. on Mad Dog. Past hour number 2, back here on the Stephen A. Smith Show, Sirius XM, Mad Dog Sports Radio. Let's go back to the phones at 888 Mad Dog 6 before we get on out of here. That's 888-623-3646. Let's go to Mike in Virginia. You're live with Stephen A. Mad Dog Sports Radio, Sirius XM, Mad Dog. What's going on, man? How you doing?
Good. How are you, man?
I'm good. Talk to me.
I had a question. So what do you think about Michael Thomas, the rookie from New Orleans Saints? His performance?
I didn't watch much of him. I got to wait to see him a little bit more. I don't know much about him, my man.
Okay. All right, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And by the way, you're not really thinking about the Saints. When you think about the Saints, you think about Drew Brees. You think about Brandon Cooks. There's no doubt about that because he's a speedster. This kid, Michael Thomas, we got to see. But when you got Drew Brees throwing you the football and you've got defenses preoccupied with Cooks and Kobe Fleener, who's now there, Michael Thomas, if he's got any skills with them, should be able to do a little something. All right? And you got to remember, you also got Willie Snead there. They operate on the perimeter. You got Brandon Coleman, who's 6'6", and he could be a dangerous threat, a red zone threat. Got to also remember Mark Ingram, C.J. Spiller, Tim Hightower, Travaris Cadet. They're in the backfield. And again, Drew Brees, who religiously throws for close to 5,000 yards. What's there to talk about? But I'm telling you here, that right now. Look, New Orleans' offense is not going to be an issue. Their problem is on the defensive side of the ball. They were dead last in points, next to last in yards allowed and passing yards allowed. Their defense is horrible. And Sean Payton, Super Bowl champion, been there 11 years, you can't be letting the defense stink that much. You got to get that together. You really, really do. You really, really do. 888 Mad Dog 6 is always the number to call up. This 888-623-3646. Let's go to Sam in Uniondale, Long Island. You're live at Stephen A. and Mad Dog. What's up, Sam?
What's going on, Stephen A?
Talk to me, man.
Stephen A, I'm calling you about Carmelo Anthony, man. I had a problem with what he said yesterday in regards to the Olympics and everything like that. But Melo gets a bad rap league-wide, man. Seriously, this guy to me, people are acting like Carmelo Anthony has played with talent like LeBron has had. He's never even had a guy like a Westbrook ever in his career. But yet people give Durant a pass. And Carmelo, in my opinion, if Melo had a shot to at least play with a talented guy like a Wade or a Westbrook, then I could understand people killing this guy. But I think Carmelo is like this. Look, man, I never played with those kind of guys. Look what Golden State has done. You can't really think that I can beat these teams, but I'm going to give it a shot. I don't think Carmelo is a guy who's going to shy away from the challenge, but I think he's resolute in saying, look, it's crazy right now.
Well, let me stop
the
you.
Warriors are ridiculous.
Let me stop you, Sam. You're absolutely right if you're just talking about basketball. You know where your argument goes by the wayside?
No.
Melo had several opportunities to be in better situations, and he passed it up for the money.
That's true. I heard you say that.
And so when you look at it, listen, I love Melo. That's my man. He's probably going to be mad at me for what I said, but I hope he gets over it because I root for him. But the fact of the matter is that he wants his money, and he always goes for his money. And now here he is talking about gold. And even though we don't disagree with his quote, Sam, because his quote is right. Are you ready for this one, Sam? Ain't that something that you say after you retire?
That's true.
You don't say it now when you got to get on the court and go up against these cats and you still got 4 or 5 years left in this league. You don't say what he said, Sam.
But
you don't do that.
Maybe he's trying to get guys like Derrick Rose motivated.
But let me ask you this, Sam. Why should we believe that? We've never seen any evidence of that. We've never seen any evidence that he would say something just to try to get other guys motivated. You see where I'm going? So even though you might be right, there's no evidence to support him. You and I are trying to support him because we got love and respect for him. But he gave critics a boatload of ammunition with that stuff. You can't do that, Sam. You know that. You know that. That's what I'm saying.
I agree.
Thanks a lot, bro. Appreciate it. Let's go to Mitchell in Tennessee. You're live with Stephen A. What's up, Mitch?
Hey, how you doing, Stephen A? Sorry I've been missing your show. I got summer classes and stuff. I know I got to be quick here, but I've been missing it for the last couple of weeks. But this is no offense to the LGBT community at all. God knows they go through a lot in this country. But this NBA moving the All-Star game out of Charlotte is a strictly publicity move. They didn't believe the reason that they did that. If they were to do this, then why don't we flip over the jerseys that we all buy and see where they're made? And we could see China, and China's got a laundry list.
Well, let me stop right there. No, stop. Mitchell, here's the problem. Whatever ulterior motives you want to proclaim people may have had in making the decision to remove NBA All-Star Game from Charlotte, North Carolina, here are the facts. There's a segment of our populace who believes they're incredibly discriminated against. Then you have a presidential election where you have people in America feeling they're discriminated against. Then you have black folks who have a history of discrimination against them. So when you couple all of that together, if indeed you want to get this great country known as the United States of America back aimed in the right direction in certain respects, you have to speak out against all discrimination, if for no other reason but in the interest of fairness. That is why the NBA felt the need to make that decision. That is why most of us have to co-sign with that decision, and that is why Adam Silver felt compelled to make the move, and Michael Jordan and the Charlotte Hornets had no choice but to co-sign on that. As hard as they worked to get the game in Charlotte and as desperately as they wanted to remain there, they had no choice. Got to get on out of here. Y'all have a wonderful weekend. I'm looking forward to watching football.
Hey, it's Covino and Rich, and join us tomorrow for a special live broadcast.
Yeah, what better way to welcome the Rams back